Notre Dame comes in on Saturday night. Will Shipley's in concussion protocol. Man, we would normally, Jason, be running through all sorts of matchups and how do their DBs line up against Clemson's wide receivers and offense versus defensive line. And we'd be breaking down all sorts of personnel. And we could do that. But I think it's more about, well, you're just trying to make it to the end of the season and show some promise for 2024. So for the reasonable Clemson fan that leaves Death Valley late, well, I was going to say Saturday night. It's a noon Eastern time kickoff on ABC. There you go, folks. So leaving the stadium around 3:30, 4 o'clock on Saturday, and I don't want to sell this Notre Dame team as somebody that, well, we're definitely going to lose this game. We have no shot, so we just want to look good and find some. No, the game can be won. This is a bit of a toss-up game to a certain extent. I do think Notre Dame's better by a bit, but it's certainly a winnable game. So not all is lost in regards to chalking up an L for Saturday. But more importantly, it's about what's this program going to be and what's this team going to be going forward. So what are you looking for on Saturday?
I just want to see this offense come out and not shoot themselves in the foot and turn the ball over and throw pick sixes and, put the ball on the ground. I'd prefer to see them not beating themselves. But if you're an opposing team playing Clemson, you don't have to, you come in knowing you don't really have to do a whole lot. You just protect the football, don't make a lot of mistakes, and wait on Clemson to implode because they have shown each and every week they're going to do it. At some point, they're going to do it, and you capitalize when they do it, and you're going to win. That's the kind of mistakes this Clemson offense is making right now. They turned it over 2 more times against North Carolina State, resulted in 14 points. One of them was a pick six. So, I mean, it's just unfathomable the rate at which this team turns the ball over. If you can somehow, find a way to not do that and win the turnover margin, which would be something that just hasn't happened very much this season. Against Power 5 competition, has it happened at all? I'm not sure it has, but maybe you have a shot then. But if you come out here and turn it over 2 or 3 times, you can expect the same thing that you got last year when you went up to South Bend and got punked. They just punched you in the mouth and you never responded. I am interested to see how the defense comes out, Saturday, knowing the way Notre Dame kind of had their way with them last year. I do believe they will be motivated for this one, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. So that is something I'll be looking for. But again, mostly I want to see the offense, man. And I want to see Cade Klubnik take a step forward, man. He has not taken a step forward since Syracuse. He's either it's kind of been 1 step forward, 2 steps back for him ever since. And his growth seems to have halted at this point. I would like to see a little bit more growth and not all, just not so much sloppiness, that leads to the turnovers.
They're definitely familiar with this quarterback, Sam Hartman. I'm guessing this would be about the 5th time they've played him. So the last time they saw him, it wasn't pretty. They did get a win, but they also gave up 45 because he's a good one. Plays in a bit of a Notre Dame offense that's different than what he had there at Wake Forest when everything was on his shoulders. He's only throwing 20, 25 passes a game. He's used to throwing at 40 or 45 and having to win the game by himself, he and those receivers. So just a different deal for him. Last thing, Jason, would be it's a great sport and we love it because on one hand, it's so technical and there's a lot of strategy. On the other hand, it's just emotion. And you put those two together, and I guess the emotion has to be, cut loose to play with your hair on fire, but also has to be kept in check. So you execute. And that Florida State game, my goodness, was that a gut punch that they just haven't recovered from?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fair to wonder about. I mean, it's not a terrible question. Because they have not looked, they have not really looked the same since. So, granted, they didn't play terribly against Syracuse, but that game was not quite as it might have been a little bit closer than the final score indicated.
Yeah. And also look at Syracuse's scores
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah, they're
They're
not
getting dragged all over the field.
they're not very good, you know. But I thought it's not. It's, you know, it's I could see it. You know, they got humbled and have not recovered. Maybe I don't know. It's fair to wonder about that, but you know, you got to find a way to put that aside, like you said, the emotional part of it. Troy Stellato talked Saturday night about, you know, how frustrated this team is. He said, you know, we're not a 4-4 team. It's not okay for this Clemson team to be 4-4, and he was quite emphatic about it. Talked about the frustrations, and I asked him how you keep those frustrations from seeping into the field, and he said he tries to personally use it as motivation. I think it's fair to wonder, you know, how much frustration is leading to some of these mistakes, or playing tight, or playing timid, or, you know, just preventing some of these guys from just going out there and letting it rip, you know, just cutting it loose and playing free. Because this offense, you're probably not going to get this, but anybody that follows Clemson baseball will. This offense reminds me of Clemson baseball in the final years of Jack Leggett, you know, legendary coach Jack Leggett, where they just, you know, they got beat by South Carolina in the College World Series, and then after that, they just played so tight all the time. It was just it was almost like they were whistling when they walked, because they were playing so tight, and not from their mouths. But this offense kind of reminds me of that. They're just tight. They're timid. It's like they are playing not to lose, and they're playing knowing that mistakes come. They're just kind of waiting on the mistake to happen and wondering who's going to make it this time. And you're not going to win a lot of football games that way. You're not going to have a lot of success that way. It's going to lead to more mistakes than it prevents. This coaching staff at Clemson's got a big job on their hands right now.
Yeah, there's got to be a fine line in terms of confidence and psychology in walking out onto the field being, we're Clemson and the other team knows it, and we're supposed to win, versus, yeah, we're Clemson, we're supposed to win. The other team can play lights out and can just play free. We're feeling the pressure of what we're supposed to live up to, and we're not doing it. Yeah.
That allure is gone. Nobody is scared of Clemson anymore.
Yeah.
We've seen that this year, and I'll use another baseball quote here. Current Clemson baseball coach talked about his baseball team last year, and they were on this long winning streak, and he said, you know, we're playing on the edge with the edge. And I've not seen this Clemson offense play with the edge since that Florida State game. You know, they've just not looked the same since. You know, they were good at times again against Syracuse, but it was not all pretty that day. That was kind of the day that it started the worm started to turn. Syracuse used some stunts and twists on that defense. Their defensive line used some stunts and twists to confuse Clemson's offensive line, and I think every team's done it to them since. You know, Wake Forest did it, Miami did it, North Carolina State did it. Clemson's not had an answer for it yet. I would expect Notre Dame to do the same thing.
Jason, we appreciate you hanging out with us. I had a lot of questions for you, so thanks for sitting in with me.
Anytime, my man. My pleasure.